Sweeping past the topic of the previous video, you know, let's just try to lighten up the mood a bit. We're gonna do a fun little thing together, and it involves me telling a story, just like usual, but this time there will be an element of mystery in it. So keep your ears sharp and ready to listen to a couple of details, because we're gonna be playing some detective work kind of stuff here. And this story, I was actually reminded of it when I made the previous video. So it has something to do with showering. If you haven't watched the previous video yet, which I can understand because you might be intimidated by the length of the video. Like, how can someone talk about that one topic for like 30 minutes? I don't even think it's possible myself, but I did it somehow. The only contextual information that you're gonna need going through this video is that I take long and hot showers. That's it. Okay, let's get started. So this happened quite a while ago, maybe 6, maybe 5, maybe 4 months ago. And I was just taking a regular shower, a regular long and hot shower like I usually do. Nothing weird happening there. So I just took a bath, cleaned myself, and then I thought, just like 99% of the times this always happens, I want to stay here for a longer period of time. So I did stay there for a longer period of time. I just stood, closed my eyes, just feel the hot water, and it just feels so nice. So I just stood there. Sometimes I sat down, sometimes I stood up again, and then that went on for I don't even know how long, but several moments have passed, and suddenly I get this feeling of suddenly finding it difficult to breathe. The problem is I can breathe fine, alright, but the problem is it feels like I'm not taking in enough air with each breath. You get that feeling that you need to breathe at a higher rate, at a higher frequency, just in order to keep up. So I had that feeling, and I didn't really think of it as a problem. You see, whenever I have any medical issues going on with me, I have a rule that's like, basically, wait 3 days and see if anything happens. So I had this one time where I found a red dot in my eye, just a red coloration at like the white part of the eye. So the white part, it's like someone dropped a drop of red paint on my eye, and it just left that color there. And my parents asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital to get it checked, and I'm like, no, let's just wait for 2 or 3 days and see what happens. 2 or 3 days later, the red spot has gone missing, and I'm like, oh, good news then. I no longer have to worry about it. So that is the golden rule whenever I have anything weird that's going on with my body. Just wait for a while. You don't want to worry about things unnecessarily, because 99% of the time, whatever weird things that are happening to you are most likely harmless. You have to be a really unlucky person to suddenly suffer from a rare medical disorder. So yeah, that's the same rule that I used when I was in that shower. I didn't worry about it because it's as if like my breathing efficiency went from 100 to 90%, so that's no big deal. I can still survive. I'm not gonna just drop dead in the next few minutes because of that problem. So it's not something I should worry about, at least for the time being. So I just continued the bath without any worry. The problem is, Fast forward a couple minutes later, and my breathing seems to be getting worse. Basically, it went from a 90% efficiency to down to about 70%. And at that point, I was like, oh shit, something serious is going on. If I don't do anything about it, I might just drop dead. And at that point, I was too tired and out of breath to like stand up, that I had to sit down in the shower, and I just had to stop and reassess the situation for a little while. So I was just thinking of multiple possibilities. Maybe my lungs are collapsing or something like that. All these different thoughts are flying through my head, and I was just patting my body and just like checking for my heart rate or something. I don't know what I was doing. I'm just in a slight panic there. But then give it a few more minutes and then I started to calm down a bit. And then I thought to myself, something has to go on that just happened to trigger this, because the chances of me suddenly developing a medical issue in the middle of a shower, especially at my age, I'm not like an old person in their 70s or 80s or anything, so no surprise there. I don't have like serious medical conditions, so nothing can suddenly develop out of the blue. So I thought that there has to be something that's basically the root cause of all of this, a trigger for this sort of stuff to happen. So I just closed my eyes and then I thought, because there has to be an easy and simple solution for this. And I did get the answer to that. Now I'm gonna stop and let you think for a while. You can pause the video if you want. I'm just gonna take a sip of my water here because I've been talking for quite a long time. Alright, so I'm about to give you the ending to this little detective story of mine. If you manage to come up with an answer, then congratulations. Here's a few claps for you. Okay, here it is. So back to the story. I was just sitting down and thinking, right? And I came up with an answer, but it didn't feel like it originated from me. So let me just give you an explanation towards that. So it's as if my life was a movie and suddenly the subtitles, they turned on. So I could just see words just floating around as if my life has suddenly turned into a movie. So I didn't put any thinking power at all, and these words just come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, one of these words just like flew past me and like landed straight in front of my head. And I can still remember what those words said. It said, "You dumbass, you haven't been inhaling oxygen. All you're inhaling is just steam." And at that moment, it suddenly occurred to me that the whole room was like covered in the fog and mist from my hot shower, and I've just been inhaling water vapor this whole time. So basically my bathroom is an enclosed space, and there's only a tiny little hole in that room where the air can flow out. So whenever I generate steam with that hot shower, it flows out through that direction, and what I thought had happened was that all the oxygen was just pushed along the same path that the steam took to exit that hole. You know, because diffusion, you got a lot of steam inside the room, you got little steam outside of the room, so that's the natural path that it would take according to the laws of science. So once again, if you figured it out, congratulations to you. I thought that this is a story I might share because there's something to be learned from it. So if you ever feel suffocated while taking a bath, now you know one of the possible reasons why that is true. So now you don't have to like really worry and panic and like suddenly call an ambulance or something. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So after that, I just immediately closed the shower, everything stopped, and I ran out the door, and all the steam just went flying through as I opened the door, and I took a deep breath and I was like, oh yeah, I made it out alive. Almost killed myself with the hot shower. I don't know where those words came from, but if they hadn't come to me, then I would have just stayed there still trying to figure stuff out in a semi-panic state, and it would have gotten worse. Who knows what could have happened. I'm sure nothing serious or bad though. I'm sure I would have gotten out the shower at some point when my breathing like just drops to like 50 or 40%. I'll just rush out the shower and shout to anybody to call an ambulance to get me, so no problems there. But yeah, again, interesting little experience that you can learn from. That's it. Bye.